Welcome, Sagittarius, to your 2021 annual reading and forecast. Let's see what's in store for you for this calendar year of 2021. I'm going to take 4 cards, one for each 3-month period beginning in January. Very in-depth monthly readings, as you subscribers will know, come out each month, and you can see those on the playlist. Obviously, if you subscribe, they're delivered directly to you, but the subscribers love them. They're different. They're good. So let's see what there is in store. Incidentally, if you want to find out more about what I do, just check out the description in the description below. Let's have a look at this first card. It is interference. Now, I'm going to use my pen to point out some of the different mystical and esoteric aspects of the cards, which also affect my reading of them, and which I think you, with your good mind, are going to find particularly interesting, because it's to do with mysticism and esoteric stuff. So let's have a look, see what there is here. The Queen of Wands. The Queen of Wands. Let's have a look at this. The Tower. And I think that's a good card, looking at these other cards here. And let's have a look at this one. The Ace of Discs. Great. Sagittarius, come and sit down next to me. We'll have a good close look at these cards. I'll point out some of the interesting imagery while I do the reading for you to find out what is going to happen in 2021. Okay, now these playing cards, I'm not going to use them. I've just got them around because the energy they give off for me is a good vibe, and I often use them in personal readings to great effect. But now we're looking at these tarot cards here, and let's see what it is that they have to say for you. Now here is the 8 of Swords. This is for the first quarter. Oh, incidentally, we should just recall, first quarter, the first 3 months, the next 3 months, the third quarter of the year, and finally October through to December. But let's have a look at this Lord. Here it is. Now this card is referred to as being interference. There could be some justification to that. I prefer to refer to it as the Lord of shortened force. I think you're going to have a lot on your plate in this first quarter of the year, a lot of activity going on. And it may be that your challenge is to focus yourself and not to be distracted by things. The reason why I say that is because for me, astrologically, I have Jupiter ruling, your planet, Jupiter, ruling the first decan of Gemini, that 21st to the 31st of May. Now, Jupiter, as you know, is the ruler of Sagittarius, and it is 180 degrees away from home to get into Gemini, and therefore Jupiter is in detriment. So in a sense, your Jupiter is weakened, and the inquisitive nature of Gemini inhibits Jupiter. So a weakened Jupiter means that you may not get what you want due to too many, which is the Gemini aspect of it, distractions, which may or may not be self-created. But let's look at some of the symbology on the card, shall we? Because the symbology will give you an insight into what is going on. Now, in the front here, we have 2 swords, don't we? They can indicate a choice between 2 courses of action, or just the inability to find the best action to take for a moment. But I don't think all is lost, and I'll get to that in just a second. Now, the 8 means for me, it is about power and decision. So there is decisions which you are going to need to make, and they are going to be important. So it's important not to be distracted. Now look at these background knives that are here. Don't they seem to clutter up the image itself? This is a very chaotic background here, incidentally, reminiscent of the scattered energy of Gemini, I would suggest. And these 6 background knives, I think, refer to too many things to think about, so you can't make a clear decision. Now the 6 swords are, this one here is a kris, which is an Indonesian knife, a kukri, which is a Nepalese knife, a scaramax, which is a medieval sword, well, a dagger, well, we're all familiar with what a dagger is, the machete, Latin American, and the Turkish short sword here, which is a yataghan. So this is talking about, this background here is talking about interference, I suppose. So I think before I make a general comment as to how to deal with this, I think what this means is that during this first quarter, you may, in an overall situation, be having a hard time over which is the best option for you to take at the moment. The swords are all different, and so are the things which are getting in the way of your next course of action. Now, it is possible, I think, that you could be having what is sometimes called analysis paralysis, or overthinking things with lots of things going through your mind, and your willpower to move forward could become scattered on endless, unproductive thoughts. Remember, swords is about the mind and about thinking. Well, the solution to this is to take some time out and do something different. Get a distance from the situation, as the energy you might be putting into it is just perpetuating the indecision. So the optimism of Jupiter, if you get away from it, Jupiter should come in and shine through once you leave things alone for a while and let them settle down in their own way. Have some fun and come back to this in a refreshed light. Because you may be wasting your time or attention on small things, these background knives, things that aren't important. But as I say, this is about the very busy period I think that you are going to be having. Again, I'm drawn to this number 8 here of the card itself. Now, in sacred geometry, the octagon, that is the 8-sided geometric figure, it portrays an evenness and stability. Now, in the mental realm of swords, this comes in part from calmness and composure, which provides the stability of not being thrown off center. Any strong judgment or emotional reaction can create a kind of static that interferes with clarity of perception and evenness in the mind and your emotional body. Calmness and composure is the result of not getting caught in these judgments and reactions. It is the evenness that comes when you neither reject nor cling to the various mental and emotional states that arise. There may be around here a feeling of mental contraction. Fear, resentment, envy, and doubt all involve contraction, don't they? If you are sensitive enough, you may notice their effect in your body. Other times you may recognize contraction only after it has released, and you find yourself in a state that is more restful, free, and expansive. I think the focus here is on acceptance of contraction as part of life and cultivation of calmness and composure to help you deal with uncomfortable states or situations. Calmness and composure are not an enforced evenness created by flattening your emotions, nor are they a blurring of your perceptions. In calmness and composure, you are aware of your internal distress, but you don't react to it as much because you have an evenness inside. It means that you never get ruffled. You can be totally triggered by an event, and yet handle that turmoil with calmness and composure. By feeling your response moment to moment and letting it go, you can put space around it and not get so caught in the content. It is this breathing room, this entrance of Jupiter, that allows you to avoid reacting automatically and lets you decide what action is the most skillful in the situation that presents itself to you. And then in April through June, let's have a look to see what is coming on here. I told you had a very busy start to the year. And here you have a lot of fire here. Good for a fire sign like yourself, with the beautiful, the Queen of Wands, the First Lady of the American Theatre, the Rose of the Palace of Fire. Now here we see the Queen of Wands seated upon a throne with a leopard sitting at her right side. She has her right hand on the leopard's head, and in her left hand she holds a rod with a pine cone at the tip. Now, as a queen, she is elementally water, and she's in the suit of fire. Now, fire and water are enemies, and they weaken each other. Therefore, there are going to be contradictions in her nature. So there may be some contradictions in your nature during this period, but they're good. And this is despite the fact that she, and therefore you, will be a very strong person. But this means that perhaps you might be apt from time to time to cross between your light and dark sides. Now, I have to say that there's a lot of Pisces around here, and there's a lot of Aries around here. Pisces gives her sensitivity and inspiration, and Aries gives her leadership and self-confidence. So they're two general themes that are going to be there for you: inspiration, self-confidence, and leadership. Now, looking at some of the imagery on here, we look at her crown. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12 rays of light emanating from it, and that represents the 12 signs of the zodiac. It is also open and expressive and is connected to spirit. It implies the integration of her personality and connection with her different traits. It also suggests that she has worked through issues, as we see here in this card, that she has worked through issues to be able to have a clear vision. The zodiac is her crown, so a crown of knowledge of what the different signs bring to the world. Therefore, she and you will relate to others really well, and that knowledge ties in with her compassionate side, so I think that you will have a degree of compassion with you, in fact a lot of compassion, I have to say. Now, her throne is of fire. Her passion, ambition, and energy to get things done and assert herself, that is going to be you. And sometimes this translates in her to imposing her will on others, and I think this may well be you as well. She is seated on that throne of flame, ordered into geometrical light by her material power. Beneath the throne, the flames are surging steadily, so she has gained an element of self-mastery and control of herself. Now there's a fish clasp for her cloak, talking about compassion, spirituality, sensitivity, and that's the association with Pisces that I have here. So I think Pisces will be important to you. And this wand here, this thrisis wand, well, it's associated with Dionysus or Bacchus, and it's a symbol of prosperity, fertility, hedonism, you'll be pleased to know, and pleasure and enjoyment. Now, what's also interesting about this, I think, is that her eyes here, I don't know if you can see it. Let me have a look. You may be able to see that her eyes are closed, and this reminds us of this intoxication and absorption she has with her life as she is fully committed to accomplishing her goals. I think what we can say in summary for this is that you will be a person going through, let me pull this out, going through the process of self-discovery and remembering how powerful you are and reclaiming your life. You've got to this point by resolving difficult issues in the past and you are now a very strong character. This is a time to express your natural power and beauty and move on from the past. You are going to be making a very strong impression on people, and a very strong first impression on people. And people are going to find you very physically attractive. She represents a strong, independent leader focused on her goals, and she knows what she wants. See, this has been dispelled. That process of allowing Jupiter to come in dispels that indecision that perhaps was around. And she's going to be leading a very active life, and so are you. She has a lot of creative energy, and as I say, really makes a very powerful first impression. Let's see what else there is here. Let's have a look at this card. The Tower. Oh, this is one of my favorites, this, and you'll appreciate it. Well, the thing about the Tower, and you will appreciate this because you are spiritual by nature, but basically this energy here is a metaphor for the process of purification through fire. And here we have the planet Mars in full attack mode supplying this energy. We see the reference to, is that a reference to Mars, that little glyph down there? I think it is. And that energy of Mars leads to the destruction of your small self, or the limitations of consciousness and identity. Now there's a little biblical Hebrew letter down here. That is the letter Pei. And that letter Pei means mouth. And we can see this in the bottom right-hand card, which is the mouth as being the vehicle of fire, which destroys the tower. Now I might say that the tower does represent the limitations of your ego, that part of consciousness which is trapped in form and lower consciousness, the mental, emotional, and physical bodies. The structure of identity that you have built up over the course of your lifetime. That is, where was I born? Were my parents wealthy? Did I live in a house that was modest, poor, rich? What do I do for a living? What type of boyfriends or girlfriends do I get? What type of car do I drive? Those things we think are going to make up who we are. But take all those things away, and you're still there. And the question is, who are you? Now that structure of identity is only a small part of who you are, and yet you see it as the totality of who you are. This limitation of consciousness, I think, needs to be broken down. Now there are here, and let's have a look at it again. While I'm looking at it, you can see it here. Here is a dove, and here is a snake. Well, these are two symbols for love and are different manifestations of the same energy. The dove is passive love, and the serpent is active love. Now, in its higher octave, love involves destruction, as these opposites are dissolved and reconciled with each other, and this relates to the destruction of the tower itself. All of life is a process of reconciling to a unity or oneness. Now, people who read their New Testament Bible works will recall the Gospel of Matthew in chapter 10, verse 34, where it says, or the Jesus figure says, "Think not that I come to send peace on earth. I came not to send peace, but a sword." And this is where the Eye of Shiva also comes in. Shiva, of course, is the third member of the Hindu Trinity. Brahma, the creator god, Vishnu, the preserving god, and Shiva, the god of destruction and renewal. And it is the Eye of Shiva which is destroying the tower as well. And it's also associated with the third eye and results in the destruction of the illusion of the material creation. I think what we can say here also is that, well, there are you may be able to see it. There's a lightning flash coming from the eye, which has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 aspects to it. The spiritual illumination breaking down your ego. There are 5 points to it. And that 5 points has a mystical association for me with the planet of Mars. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 embers. This has an association with the moon and represents change as represented by its cycles. Now, what else might it also say to you? Well, I think it's this, that this may well be a time of turmoil and destruction, to use the metaphor of the tower here. Incidentally, you can see these figures. Now, a lot of people sometimes think when they look at this card, they say, oh, look, these figures, they're geometric patterns. These figures are falling from out of the tower. But I actually think that in this reading, they are escaping from the tower. They are escaping from the confines of your consciousness, and also escaping from those things which don't make you happy in life. So you're escaping into a place which is going to bring you more balance and make you more centered. And there may be some turmoil and destruction as you seek to understand how you could have been mistaken about a situation or person which you now have to come to terms with. Now, emotions like anger, grief, depression, and not being able to eat or sleep may affect you, as your current sense of security may be lost in relation to that or badly shaken. You may even feel as if your comfortable world will never be the same again, but it is going to be, because it's followed by this card here, which is all good news. Now, those types of situations which could be relevant are things like relationship breakups, career changes, death of loved ones, financial or health problems and things. But things are going to turn around. We all have wobbly moments in our life. The important message of this Tower card for you is that with the destruction of the old comes the new, and you can eventually look at life in a much more meaningful way, which makes you wiser. So there is an opportunity here for growth and happiness that's coming your way. Then that takes us to the end of the year, which is this card here for you, the Ace of Discs. Now, it really is one of the best cards in the pack to get hold of this. My first comment is this, is that there is a lot of Taurus around here, a lot of Gemini, a lot of Aries, so those people are going to be in your life, I think, at this time of year. The Ace is the seed of the suit, and it promises. Now, being in discs, people think it's money, but I look at it more as being a lifestyle, that there's a seed, the opportunity here for real growth in lifestyle. I'm not going to spend a great amount of time on the imagery here because it's massively esoteric and probably takes an hour, other than to say this. There are 2 sets of wings here that are enclosing another set of, 4 sets of wings in between. And there's a disc flying around there. There's little tiny lettering on there, which you won't make out, so I won't go into it. There's a great degree of fertility around it, a great degree of productivity, a great degree of potential for material success. In fact, actually what it does say to me is this card, and let's look at it here in the combination with all of these others as you've come through the year, is by this time, by the year, it is the case that it is being said to you that there is nothing you cannot be, there is nothing you cannot do, there is nothing you cannot have. You are the most magnificent, the most remarkable, the most splendid being God has ever created. For who could reject such wondrous magnificence? But you do not know who you are, and you think you are a great deal less. You are your own rule maker, and you are the only one who can assess how you are doing. All you see in the world is your idea about it. Life will take off for you when you choose for it to. An idea becomes a thought becomes a word. Say it out loud. Words have power, and they echo all throughout eternity. A word becomes an action, and if you are going to do it, Start. And then go all the way. Do it, do it, do it. Seize the opportunities being presented to you at this time. Rejoice in them, and let no power on earth take them from you. This is a time when really we have the beginning of something tangible, prosperity and growth, material abundance and improving finances, possibly a promotion or a pay rise, just general good luck, maybe even a set of unexpected money coming your way. You'll have a deep well of grounded, practical, organizational ability, and I think that's going to come to you throughout the whole of the year. Great success. Unification of your body and soul, material and spirit, heaven and earth. This is going to mirror your readiness to live a life that is inwardly and outwardly rich. All that is needed is already at hand. Give yourself up to the fullness of life and learn to use your wings. What area of your life would you like to make richer? Work intensively on discovering and developing your potential, your inner wealth. Remain open for every form of enrichment and say this: wealth is my natural condition. It allows me to express my spirituality and creative potential in this world. I am in harmony with the flow of nature. That's it for you this year. Well, there you go, 2021 in a snapshot. It's been great fun doing that reading for you, and I hope that you enjoyed it as much as I did providing it to you. Now, I look forward to seeing you in the monthly readings, okay? But until then, just remember one thing always, and it is this, that you are a legend. And I look forward to seeing you next time. Until then, it's bye for now.